Welcome to the ClubStrong Sauna General Troubleshooting video guide. In this video, we will go over a series of methods to troubleshoot your sauna in the event that something isn't functioning as it should be. If you have any questions regarding this video or something that isn't mentioned, please email us at info@wellness-usa.com or give us a call at 1-800-445-8418. To troubleshoot your sauna, you will need a multimeter, a step ladder, and depending on the issue, you'll want a Phillips head screwdriver or a screw gun with a Phillips head drill bit. When working with any electrical wiring, it's important to ensure that the sauna is unplugged before removing or attaching any cables. If your sauna doesn't power on, check to make sure that the power cable is connected properly to the receptacle. If it's plugged in properly but still not turned on, ensure that you meet the proper requirements to power your ClubStrong sauna. Depending on your model, each sauna will require up to 3 dedicated circuits when plugged into an outlet. Observe the text on screen to make sure that you meet the requirements specific for your model. Check to see if the breaker on the sauna has been tripped. Locate the breaker button on the back of the black box on top of the sauna. Press the button and see if your sauna will power on. If you've covered these steps, but your sauna still doesn't power on, you'll want to check the power supplies. To access the power supply, locate the black box on the top of your ClubStrong. Using a screw gun or a screwdriver, remove the lid to access the internals. Locate the main power supply's green LED light. If it's faint, flickering, or completely off, there may be something wrong with your power supply. Use a multimeter tool to check the AC and DC of the power supply to see if it's receiving and sending power. If it's failing to do either one, you may need a new power supply. Reach out to our customer service department to have the issue resolved. If the power supply light is solid green and is properly inputting and outputting power, check the secondary power supply units located towards the center of the roof. Test these units just as you did the main power supply. If nothing appears to be wrong with the power supplies, there may be an issue with the control panel or the relay board, and you'll want to troubleshoot that next. If your control panel doesn't seem to be working, check the cable connection on top of the sauna. To access this cable, remove the lid from the black box using a screw gun or a Phillips head screwdriver. The control panel cable will be located on the board that is next to the power supply. Disconnect and reconnect the cable to the board, ensuring that it's properly connected. Do the same for the extender cable that leads into the sauna. If your power supply is working as intended, and you've ensured that your control panel is connected properly, you'll want to check the relay terminals. These are also located on the main board inside the black box. Check the terminals to make sure it's properly receiving power. If your relay board seems to be working as intended, but your control panel still isn't functioning properly, you'll want to check the connection on the control panel directly. Remove the frame holding the control panel in place using a screw gun or Phillips head screwdriver. On the back of the control panel, you'll see a multi-pin cable connected. Ensure that the connection is sound by unplugging and plugging the cable back into the panel. If you do so, and your power supply and relay board are functioning properly, and the panel is still not functioning properly, you may need a new control panel. Reach out to our customer service department to have this issue resolved. If you're experiencing issues with your Chromalight LED modules, you'll have to troubleshoot to see if there's an issue with the power supplies, the individual LED panels, or one of the main boards that it's connected to. The LED driver boards are located near the middle section of the sauna roof. Ensure that the black and red power cables are properly plugged into each of the driver boards, and that each of the power supplies are appropriately sending and receiving power. If the driver boards are plugged in, and the relay board is sending power, but none of the LEDs illuminate, you may need to have one of your power supplies replaced. If a uniform section of panels are all out, and all LED boards are properly plugged in with the relay board and power supplies receiving power as intended, you may need to have an LED board replaced. Reach out to our customer service department to have the issue resolved. If your Chromalight modules are not all the same uniform color when changing colors, you may need to have the LED driver board replaced. If one of the LED panels seems to have some or all of its LEDs not working, when other panels are illuminated as intended, check the driver board on top of the sauna. Locate which cable belongs to the non-working panel and try plugging it into a different port on that board. If the same issue happens to the LED panel, you probably have a panel that needs to be replaced. If it only happens when plugged into a specific port, try connecting a working panel into it to see if the port is bad. If the port is bad, you'll need to replace the LED driver board. Reach out to our customer service department to have this issue resolved. If you are having problems with your heaters not working, you'll need to troubleshoot to see if it's an issue with the connection, the power supply, or the heater itself. Before troubleshooting, it's important to double check that your sauna is receiving adequate power and make sure that the breaker switch hasn't been triggered, causing the sauna to not power on. Again, if none of your heaters are working in your sauna, double check to see if your breaker switch has been tripped. If it has, press it and your heaters should start working again. If your power breaker switch isn't tripped and your heaters aren't working, double check the power cable connections on top of the sauna to make sure they are all connected securely. Each power cable provides power to the heaters on the same side of the sauna, meaning the cables on the left side of the sauna should provide power to the heaters on the left, the cables on the right should provide power to the heaters on the right side of the sauna, and the cables on the back side of the sauna should provide power to the heaters on the back. If you've made sure that all these connections are secure and the heaters are still not working, open up the black power box on the top of the sauna and troubleshoot the power supply, as well as the other sub-power supplies as shown earlier in the video. If all power supplies are working as intended, and still none of your heaters are working, there's likely an issue with the relay board. Reach out to our customer service department to have this issue resolved. If the heaters on one particular wall aren't working, it's likely due to a loose cable connection. Check the power cable connections on top of the sauna to make sure that they are all connected securely. If connections are secured, yet one side is still not working, use a multimeter tool to see if the relay board is functioning properly and sending power to the cable. If the cable is receiving power, unfasten the screws holding the heater in place. Check to be sure that the heater wires are properly connected and receiving power. If you only have one of your heaters not functioning properly, check the top of the sauna and make sure that the power cables are connected securely. If you've checked these connections and the heater still isn't working, unfasten the heater from the wall with a Phillips head drill bit or a screwdriver. Check the connections on the back of the heater with the multimeter tool to make sure it's receiving power. If it's not receiving power and your heater still isn't working, you'll likely need a replacement heater. If your bench heater isn't working after checking the connections at the top of the sauna, you'll want to make sure that the bench cable is fully plugged into the wall properly. If you've checked the connections and only your bench heater still isn't working, you may need to have it replaced. Reach out to our customer service department to have this issue resolved. This concludes the ClubStrong Sauna General Troubleshooting Video Guide. If you have any questions about this video, please email us at info@wellness-usa.com or give us a call at 1-800-445-8418.